Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm recording this very, very, very late into the night. Just to give you guys some pointers about just certain things that have come up in the news and things I kind of have been on my mind a little bit just to express. And currently, and I'm going to speak this in terms of there's two real things I wanted to discuss, but I want to discuss this first because it literally cannot wait any longer. Now, you may have heard on the news a lot of things about certain reports saying that the Tories want Lee Anderson back in position. Some people claiming that, according to even the Times newspaper, that Rishi Sunak is exactly the reason why Britain is not racist. Taken straight from the mouth of somebody who is unelected, claims non-dom status. His cabinet has people with scathing tax dodging issues, who have scathing issues regarding race, regarding the treatment of those who are impoverished. Well, basically, blah, blah, blah. You think that, of all these things, you would imagine that things like racial intolerance was, if anything, extremely low on the list in terms of all of the other problems that were going on right now that sort of have conveniently been ignored for the moment, let alone exactly how supposedly Jeremy Hunt is going to curb issues on tax that certain reports saying are completely uneconomical. So that's just one thing. And the other thing I'll technically just label in here as well is that the Daily Mail have gotten into that. Well, actually, no, I'll discuss all of that another time. But the thing is, I want to emphasize is that because they seem to be in the opinion of wanting Lee Anderson back and Lee Anderson not apologizing for his comments, it seems to suggest that Lee Anderson is ultimately, if he does not apologize for what he does, it suggests something very, very simple. Is that Lee Anderson wholeheartedly believes in what he has said, and by inviting him back, it suggests that those in the Tories are just absolutely okay with this. And as I mentioned before, there are people who worship Islam from the Tories who are very unimpressed by Lee Anderson's performance, and members of the MCB who are equally unimpressed. In fact, you know what? If I worshipped Islam and if I was a member of the Conservative Party, I don't particularly think I would want to have anything to do with Lee Anderson ever again after that. Just to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Because I don't even think I'm necessarily alone in this opinion. And, well, you may suggest that's sort of the end of the video immediately by saying that, to be honest, when you just... I want people to, understand, to just stop and really think about this. Are you going to invite him back because Lee Anderson's a senior figure and he's somewhat considered influential within the Tories? Or are you inviting him back because you wholeheartedly believe that Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, is in the pockets of Islamists, possibly even Islamic extremists? Is that what you're actually going to say that is fundamentally what you believe in, and you're sticking to this? If you're suggesting that, ladies and gentlemen, then I'd suggest that you might want to possibly reconsider, or at the very least, consider if you are going to stick to what you have just said, because the consequences for anybody else would have been on the lines of being blacklisted. In fact, to be honest, if things escalate, as I probably imagine they will, it wouldn't surprise me if Lee Anderson would be on the list as well. Just putting it out there. Because if any ordinary person said that, they would be lucky to get work ever again, because that sort of mark against their name is like a death sentence in many ways. But what I'm trying to emphasize to each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen, is something very, very interesting, is that you want to know a very interesting way about how you can sort of estimate the scale of respectability from the average, citizen of this country, or even those who are coming to this country, is don't be like Lee Anderson. Treat people with respect for who they are. Treat people as you would expect to be treated. It's not a very revolutionary concept, but people think it's revolutionary, and people are scared by revolution because revolution means a changing of the guard, a new way of things. And I don't really know what I'm meant to say, ladies and gentlemen, apart from, you know what, you make unfounded comments about that, people are going to make very, very founded comments about you because of your behavior. Because from what I've seen, ladies and gentlemen, people who hold very real prejudices against people based on, religion, class, sexuality, they're not particularly very good at keeping their emotions or their prejudices hidden in public. And unfortunately, well, Lee Anderson has made every single one of his transgressions more or less public. You're still willing to defend him, ladies and gentlemen? Because if you really want to, I could open up an entire can of worms right now on just the other things that Lee Anderson has done. Because let me tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't just stop at Lee Anderson laying accusations at the feet of Sadiq Khan. Oh no, it does not. It does not just stop there. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just say again, is it too much to just ask people to learn to get along with each other? Why is it the Tory party are not openly promoting, people learning to get along with each other? Why if I was running a party, why is it my slogan, we should learn how to work together, not fight each other? Why does that make more sense than anything else that anybody has said in regards to this, from Sunak is fundamentally the reason why Britain is not racist, or all of the other issues that the Tories have? Why is it I make more sense than these guys? The guys who are actually in power, who have a position of authority. Why is it that they are becoming incredibly disillusioned about their authority? You know what? It's just like what happened with Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister who severely overestimated his authority and severely underestimated his quarry. And this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. They're not learning from past mistakes. They are making the exact same mistakes as before. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the really, really strange part, is that, you know what? For successful business people like Rishi Sunak and his colleagues, you would have thought it would have made a tremendous business decision not to do any of this. It would have made a lot more sense from Lee Anderson's point of view if he did not say the things that he said, but he tried to actually challenge Sadiq Khan intellectually. But maybe that's just a precursor to a lot of the ideologies about the far right of the Tories, is that they are not particularly very logical. And the logic that comes from certainly where I sit right now, is the fact that, really, are you really trying to tell me that you're trying to win me over by saying that, you'd want Lee Anderson back? That's your plan to convince people that coming up to election season, stuff like that? No. Talk about embarrassing. And if you don't particularly want to be embarrassed by the Tories any longer, ladies and gentlemen, then, well, vote for them out. When an actual election comes around and when people actually have the decision to make a democratic vote in terms of who they want or don't want in office, just consider exactly the things I've suggested in this video, and consider about whether or not you really think the Tories are a good representation for you when it comes to things like, racial tolerance. Because, you know what? What case exactly are the Tories putting ahead of us right now? Not very many cases, I'm afraid. So that, as they say, is that. Good night.